All right, so we are up at our favorite place, well, one of my favorite places, which is Mund's Park. And the reason I like coming up here is because this community has so many free little libraries. It's like free little library haven. And so I brought 4 books with me. I want to be able to walk around and grab a couple and see what's there. But I think what the cool part about free little libraries is like it kind of forces you to grab something you normally wouldn't read. So I'm excited, and let's just go find some books at our free little libraries. So before I even recorded the first little intro bit, we started our morning off with a walk in the woods, and there was a free little library on the way back, and luckily I carried a book in my back pocket. So I have 4 books I want to be able to trade in. So this is kind of what's in there. I really, there's a lot of just mixture of stuff in this one. This is a really stacked free little library that we saw on our trip. But you can kind of see in the back there was some cool stuff by like Steve Erickson. Here we see Stormfront by Jim Butcher. There's a lot of fantasy in it and thriller, and then we hit our romance sections with some steamy books as well. But one kind of caught my eye because of what the cover looked like. They say don't judge a book by its cover, but that kind of helps us be able to select sometimes. And it was called The Sound of Mountain Water, and it just seems kind of like a good read. It's about kind of finding the West, and it's essays, memoirs, stuff like that. It reminded me of my friend Kent quite a bit on a book that he would like, and so that was kind of a judgment of what I was going to do. But I also was really thinking about the Steve Erickson book in the back. He's the one that wrote the Malazan series, and so I was looking at that as well. But it was a collection of short stories, and I hear you're just supposed to start from the beginning, and I just wasn't ready to really get in there and read that. So here's the book right there, and I think I just gotta pace myself and eventually get to Malazan at some point, but it was not the pick for the day. And so yeah, our first pick was The Sound of Mountain Water, and we left Dragonlance book to replace it. We ended up going for lunch to the town of Flagstaff. Mund's Park is about 20 minutes away from Flagstaff, and Flagstaff's this cool college town. And so we went to one of our favorite places to go get lunch, but we also wanted to check out the free little library that's in Flagstaff as well. But what also we wanted to do was to take a trip downtown and go to my favorite bookshop in Arizona called the Brightside Bookshop. It's down here in this like Main Street area, and I know my cam's all shaky, but we have the Hotel Monte Vista, and then right down the street we have our bookshop, which is the Brightside Bookshop. So let's check it out. I just love how cozy this bookshop is. It's small and packed full of books, but what's really cool is just like other bookshops, they leave notes on books that they love from the workers there. But there's a person named Claire who works here, who we just always love her recommendations. She hasn't strayed us away, and so we always come here looking for a book and buying one. I know I'm kind of like on a book ban this one, but it's a really cute bookshop, and I highly recommend if you're ever up in the Flagstaff area to do the free little libraries or anything in general, is you have to come and support this bookshop. They got fantasy, they got romance, they got it all, and there you go. They also have books that just like pop out at you. They move those books to the covers, and so this was kind of like in the horror section, but it's kind of like a weird horror romance is what it looked like, and I just looks zombie-esque, and I was like, this looks pretty cool, and so it's got added to the TBR. I didn't buy it, but it just seemed like a cool little read, and interesting as well. So yeah, it's a cool bookshop. You should definitely go check it out. So I didn't show the books that we ended up buying at the bookstore. We actually got a couple. We got a few for my son. There were some kid books, and they're like the ones that can't rip or be like dishwasher or whatever. But my wife ended up picking up The Poisoner by Ivy Ophelia, and she heard a lot of things about this book. It's a dark romance, I believe. It's about a person who's like a botanist or a hobbyist poisoner, and it seems kind of just dark and cool. And so she was very excited, but also the art on the cover is very, very pretty, and so she picked this book up and was very excited. And then, I'm on a book ban, but she ended up buying me a book as well called Wolf Song by TJ Klune. I've been wanting to read Wolf Song for a while, and they just did the paperback with the orange sides, and so it was there, and so we decided to pick it up because she knows I love TJ Klune, and I'm totally down for some werewolf LGBTQ romance, so I'm excited to read the series and get started in it. It's gonna be really cool. As you move up this street in Flagstaff, you end up in front of the courthouse, and so they have this cool little courthouse free little library, and I was shocked that all the books were pretty much gone.
So sad.
And you know, I made a rule that I still had to do an exchange, and so I just looked at what we had. We had a book about Lincoln, we had Little Giant, which I had no idea what any of these books were, and we have The Accidents as well. And so I don't know, it was kind of a tough decision. I ended up going with this one, Lincoln. So yeah, I traded a book called The Children's Bible for Lincoln Embargo, which this book right here, The Lincoln Embargo, is about Abraham Lincoln's son. So also, we got stopped by the train at Flagstaff as well. So we then ended up walking in the rain, which was very nice, and there's free little library. Didn't have a lot in it, but I traded there for a poetry book from Amanda Gorman called Call Us What We Carry. This is a bigger segment, but we forgot to hit record, so there you go. That is the book we got. And then we find ourselves walking to this free little library. This is all walking distance from our cabin. So there were 3 free little libraries up in Mund Park that were walking distance from our cabin. And then there was the one in Flagstaff. And so I was able to get rid of all 4 books that I brought up, which was really, really cool. And so this didn't have a lot of books that really interested me, but as I said before, free little libraries kind of force you to pick a book if you want to play that way, you know, that you normally would never read. And so I was struggling between maybe a romance novel or another murder mystery because I was trading in Hidden Pictures. And my wife decided to choose Deadly Decisions by Kathy Reichs. I have no idea anything about this book, but it looked fascinating. So yeah, we ended up getting 4 new books from our free little libraries, and that's exciting. I think the challenge of free little libraries of just forcing yourself to grab a book that you normally wouldn't necessarily read, or what's in there only, is really, really cool. And even though we saw a few that like were up my alley, I either already owned it or, you know, like I just was too afraid to do the Malazan series. It's cool to be able to pick something different. I think that's what's special about having these, is if you just go up there and exchange, then you know, you have something new to read, and it's something that might be a little bit more out of your comfort zone, which is kind of fun. So I love doing this every time I go up to Mund Park because we just have the family cabin up there, and it's just a fun challenge. So let me know in the comments if you guys, you know, go out there and do book exchanges or your cool finds that you happen to find in free little libraries. And yeah, I will see you guys next time, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Toodles. Bye, Toodles. I don't know. Toodles.